Hello, this is Malorian, and now this is the second game of the Out of the Basement tournament. And this one is going to be kind of a special one because it's me versus Chaos Dwarves. And you guys know my feelings about Chaos Dwarves. And one of the things that's kind of interesting about this is that the first time I went up against Chaos Dwarves with their new book, the Tamakarakaramakarnak book, it was this guy here. I never get to face him other times because he comes in from Grand Prairie, another city farther out. And so here we are again. And it's like, oh, the Chaos Dwarves is a little funny thing of, like this animosity. And it's just, it's one of these things where it's so silly because I'm so against Chaos Dwarves and the idea that this 4-year-old book gets played in GW tournaments, but at the same time, the guys that play it, like this guy here, are a hoot. They're so fun to play with, and I know it's going to be a great game. It's just still, somewhere in the back of my mind is this Chaos Dwarves. So the other interesting thing is that the mission we're going to be playing is exactly the same as the last time we played. So really all it is that there's two massive giants, the big ones from like the Storm of Magic or whatever, like the super big one, Bone Grinder Giant, I don't know. But there's these two guys there, and anytime you can move a unit into them, however, at the end of the turn, that unit's going to take D6 Strength 6 hits. And so you get kind of smashed up. And so definitely you kind of want to leave it right to the end, otherwise you get smashed to hell. But the big thing here is he doesn't really have any of the nasty stuff you would, normally be worried about with Chaos Dwarfs. He has no Destroyer, no Chalice, very few of the monsters. Sorry, not the monsters, the War Machine. So it should be a really fun game. And either way, we each have kind of like a score to settle, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so looking at the army here, it took up a little bit too much of the flash, but it's obvious that this is really a hobbyist army. Like, again, I'm totally against Chaos Dwarves and all this stuff, but man, like this guy, he really does play it because he loves the army. And, I don't want... man, I wonder if I should say what he calls his monster here or not, but the Lamassu. But anyway, yeah, it's just... really great looking army, very well painted, some nice conversions in here as well. And yeah, I hope, last battle report, there's a few blurry ones. It would be a real shame if one of these was blurry too. So looking here on the board, you can see those two giants on either side. You can see that, we mainly just have some forests in that weird ruin thing there in the center again. You guys know my army, or should. On his side, what he has, and luckily, here's another thing he did, is I have in my hands his list he gave me. Now, I was giving out a one-page thing with my rules, a paragraph of fluff, and saying where to get my channel. His thing here is like 10 pages with 3 pages of fluff. Each character has a fluff thing with it as well as it's listed. He took time before the game to explain what everything does. Whatever I say that you have to worry about this for Chaos Dwarf players, this guy's the opposite. But let's go through this. His Lord is a Sorcerer Prophet. It's a level 4 with the Lord Medal, has 4+ Ward, the Charm Shield. And then there's the Lamassu that has, I think this is his name here. Sorry. Bill Games or something. Anyway, he's a level 1 Lord Shadow. His heroes, he has an Infernal Castellan with an Enchanted Shield, then a Demon Smith with he's a level 1 of Fire and has a pistol. He has, then for his core, 24 Infernal Guard with full command. The Death Mask has a pistol and Gleaming Pennant. Then 18 Infernal Guard with full command and Fire Glaives. Then next page here, he has 6 of the Centaur Renders, and they have great weapons and a banner. Then he has a Katai Fireborn. There's only 3 of them this time. And then the Iron Demon And then only other thing left is his Dreadquake Mortar, which has a Slave Ogre, and then 8 of the Hobgoblin Wolf Riders with Spears. And yeah, so that's his list. You know, it's not full of the Magna Cannons or any of that stuff. So really looking at this, the main things I'm worried about is the his little mortar thing landing on my head, doing the d6 wounds that way. From what I understand, the Iron Demon's really good at shooting monsters. But the problem is like a steam tank, I can't really just go in there and kill it, right? Even if I send in 3 monsters, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to kill in one go. And if I don't do that, then I'm sure I'm going to be flanked and bad things will happen. So what I'm hoping to do is find some way just to distract it, tie it up with an eagle or something like that. The Kadai, I don't even plan to really engage them. I'm going to go and fight the rest of the army, let them burn out because they have to take a toughness test or lose wounds all the time. So I'll do that. Hobgoblin should be shot off right away. I want to get into his little train there in the back, kill it, and I'm really not sure what to do with these centaurs on the left. I'd love to get to these infantry and kill them, but these centaurs, they have great weapons, so they're scary, but, it's also a thing where I can't ignore them because they're also so fast. So we'll have to kind of see which way the game goes, but yeah, it should be fun. So I get first turn, and I shoot those hobgoblins, but I do not kill them. I kill all but, 3 or something like that, 4, and they pass their panic test. So whatever, not a big deal. Otherwise, I'm just moving up my monsters so that they're just ready to threaten like hell. I mean, I would love it if I could get 3 monsters into that big block there. Very, like turn 2 type thing. I'm also hoping to scare off his little Lamassu guy as well. And for the most part, yeah, I mean, if he moves up with the centaurs on the left, I could be getting a phoenix in the flank, or I could just avoid them and go straight for the fireglaves. On his turn, he charged in here with his hobgoblins. I shoot a couple coming in. They pass their panic, and I'm not really too worried about this. Ah, damn it, a stupid... okay, sorry, more blurry pictures, which is a real damn shame here. And really the big thing that was happening here is my eagle is now panicking for a reason, and that's probably because he charged me with his centaurs. I fled. He tried to redirect and failed. That was it. Hooray, I remembered. But yeah, so that's great. I mean, the eagle I had plans for was supposed to go into the Iron Demon, but yeah, I mean, at least the centaurs are not going to be further back. Otherwise, hey, we got something pretty. And the Iron Demon shot into my Fire Mage here and just killed the dragon. So Sun Dragon down, 1 monster down, but hey, it was bound to happen. Otherwise, over here, now, this is really what happened after, but he hits me with a freaking rock onto my Moon Dragon. And so it turns out the strong part's on the dragon, and he does 5 wounds to the dragon and 1 wound to the rider. So right away, I'm down a dragon, and my other dragon and my archmage are almost dead. So this really isn't good, and where I'd hoped to charge in 3 monsters, now I could maybe do 2, and yeah, my other one's in a bad spot. So after everything's done, of course I kill those hobgoblins. He's kind of positioning around. His Lamassu moved farther back. And I'm into a pretty interesting thing here. And I actually took a lot of time. His Fireglaive shot into my Dragon Mage and did another wound there. But really, I was trying to decide what to do because I really was hoping my Moon Dragon could be part of the assault going in to the main block on the right. However, what am I going to do with this Iron Demon and with these Kadai? So my idea was to charge in, the 2. Now I can't. Maybe I could bring over the Griffin, but what I'm going to do, so I thought I was going to bring over the Reavers to go and redirect them, but this is how great this guy is. He stops and says, like, hey, you could just flank me with those Reavers, because then it just kind of ties them up. I figured that this thing's like a steam tank that can just go and grind things down. Well, I guess it just does thunderstomps. So if you're something like a Cav model that can't be thunderstomped, it has like 3 strength 3 attacks, and that's it. So, like, wow, I mean, like, this is something where normally in a tournament you would never see that, right? People are going to tell you how to beat their army, but he just told me how to do it. So that's what I do. I send the Griffin and the Phoenix into the guard there, the dwarves, and I go to the flank of the Iron Demon, and then knowing that the only way to make this work is I have the Moon Dragon going to the destroyers. This is ballsy. It could go really bad, but I just need them tied up. Otherwise, they'll kill my Reavers. Iron Demon will go into my Phoenix, and just bad things will happen. I do have Apotheosis, so I could try healing myself, but yeah, this is definitely a risk. So otherwise, after everything's said and done, I did do my apotheosis, got back the 1 wound, so that's really good news. He did nothing to me because I made all my 3+ wards. I killed one of them after crumbling and all that stuff, so that's looking good. Tied up his Iron Demon even though he killed one. In combat, man, those guys are freaking tough. They're like toughness 5, so my Thunderstomps are not killing as many as I thought, but I am going to start chewing through them. The Eagle rallied, the Mage goes back to join the Archers, Phoenix is going to the rear to kind of threaten everything, and the Spearmen are going around to threaten the flank as well. On his turn, then, there's not really any charges or anything to do there, so the Lamassu is just moving back to be outside of the charge arc of the Phoenix. The Centaurs reform to look at the Spearmen that are now regretting going over there. He goes to go and shoot at... What did those guys shoot at? I think he tried shooting my Eagle and failed, or he shot at my Archers, but yeah, maybe that's the Fireglaves moved up, but yeah, really, they're just not being very effective right now, because I guess they're pretty short range. They must have shot at my Eagle and failed, but either way here, sorry, in combat, I keep on grinding him down. His magic isn't too bad. He does another wound to me in the combat with the Moon Dragon, but hey, I'm still clawing him up there. So since I need to deal with these guys here, I decide, well, let's give it a try. So because of that impassable giant, the Spearmen aren't completely in, so that's great, because that means there's 2 of his guys that won't get to attack. He'll be -1 strength because of me being his flank, and hey, I've never faced these guys before, but this seems like this should be a good combination. And then over here, yeah, my mage dies, so that's it. But hey, my dragon's alive, his Kadai are all dead, and hey, I'll go with that. Except the bad news is that I failed my monster reaction test, and I'm going to guard that body. So it's one of those things where, hooray, I killed the Kadai, boo, I can't do anything else. I lost my magic. Yeah, it's whatever. But otherwise, his Iron Demon slowly grinding down my Reavers, but just not fast enough. My Eagle's going back there. I regretted the direction after, because I should really have it ready to go into the Iron Demon. And otherwise, I'm just grinding down his main block there. And look at the left. Those Centaurs, done. He just wasn't able to do enough damage. I had all the combat res. He broke, and I ran him down. So the Spearmen rolled kind of low and didn't get to the flank. But hey, if they would have done that, that would have been pretty much overkill. On his turn here, he gets the glittering robes off on his Fireglaves, and they reform around. They tried swift reforming, but they failed. Lamassu is going on my side to threaten my Archers and my last Mage there. And otherwise, yeah, I'm just still grinding the hell down to those other guys. I mean, toughness 5, weapon skill 5, these guys are really holding me back. Or maybe it wasn't weapon skill 5, I forget. But yeah, that toughness 5 is rough. Crappy picture, but I'm now going into his mortar in the back. Over here, this is really something where I just needed something to delay, because I don't have time to deal with this Lamassu all in one turn, so I charge the Reavers in the flank for 2 reasons. 1, because I need to slow it down, and 2, Lamassus are like Griffins. They just got a little bit of toughness, they got no armor, and so if I can sink some wounds on a Lamassu, I can just shoot it down later. Overall, though, that Lamassu kicks my butt. It almost backfired on me. I did like 3 wounds to Lamassu or something like that. It was pretty awesome. But in the end, I can't remember if it was a draw or what, but I was able to hold, so that's awesome. I wasn't able to kill his mortar. That was pretty surprising. And I'm still grinding away at these goddamn dwarves in the middle there. So on my side, I'm going in with all these archers. It should be enough to beat these guys. And after this turn's done, yeah, it's great. I mean, Okay, I guess this is actually probably his turn where he charges in and stuff. But anyway, yeah, his Lamasu is now free, but I'll be able to shoot him on my turn. The warriors died, so that's all free there. And I mean, this is just all starting to come together. Ever since everything fell apart for him on the left, yeah, this is just all Malorian now. So back to my side here, the Griffin charged into the Lamasu, killed the Lamasu, and then ran down the Prophet and killed the mortar, joined in the griffin into the iron demon just to kind of hold it there. And then charged over there to the demon smith. And at the very end, just because one of the things is to do the objective, I went and grabbed a giant just to say I did. And pretty much this is what it's looking like here. I mean, I got all these awesome monsters here. They're just fighting demons, holding giants, guarding bodies, and job well done, I guess. Except for, of course, this little guy that charged my eagle, so he has to run away. But, you know, hey, he's like the baby flyer, so he's allowed to be cowardly. So there you go, a big win again for the High Elves, and this one's kind of twofold. Why this happened, I mean, it wasn't like the first one where it's like, hey, I killed your cannon and I just danced around killing things. This one really had a lot of back and forth where it could have really gone either way if things would have just changed a little bit. I didn't feel as much like the last one where, hey, my flyers are just dominating because they're flyers. I mean, right from the beginning, I got to see that even though we didn't have as much artillery as a Chaos Dwarf player could have, all of a sudden, bam, it was like that Iron Demon takes out my Sun Dragon, my Moon Dragon's almost dead from the very beginning, and really, if I would have taken care of that Iron Demon, it just would have been shooting down my guys over and over again. So pretty dangerous stuff. Also, you could have noticed his magic didn't seem to do that well. You know, he could have been going around getting some death magic things off and all this, but really for the most part, between his poor rolls and my Book of Hoeth and of course the scroll, it really just shut down the whole thing for the vast majority. So there's that part. And of course, I can't stress enough how the game would have changed if he wouldn't have taught me how to beat the Iron Demon. Like this is, I have never seen this before in a tournament where, like, I've seen this in friendly games, but never before in a tournament where somebody says, hey, you want to know how to beat my army? You should do this. Like, this is, it was just, okay, because like I said, if I would have done it the way that I was planning, I would have moved up them just to redirect. He would have charged in, killed them. You saw how long it took for my Phoenix and Griffin to destroy that block. He would have had plenty of time to go into their flank. That could have crumbled, and it would have been horrendous. And while we're talking about crumbling, his left flank crumbling was a real thing where even though it was like a slow fight, all of a sudden it was like, bam, his left flank's gone. The two going together into his Centaur there, them just being destroyed, going into the fire glaives, and really that brave charge of the Reavers into the Lamasu to take off most of the wounds and hold them up so that by the time it died on the next turn, the Griffin could come in, finish off the Lamasu, and then just run down the Dwarf Lord. So all that together really, really, really helped. And hey, a big, big win. One of the things that was interesting talking to him after, and I was kind of wondering too if maybe he taught me that because he wanted to change my opinions of Chaos Dwarves. Because of course, like I said, you know, last time we had our game, you know, I said right there that he was a great player, but I also went on my first initial rant about how I hate Chaos Dwarves and how they shouldn't be allowed in tournaments. And so maybe he went to this saying, hey, you know, like he's not here necessarily to crush everyone. He's here to kind of more teach people, like you saw from that freaking massive package he has there and how he, you know, goes through teaching you the rules before you play. I mean, he's like, hey, do you want to know how to beat the Iron Demon? It's this simple. You know, it's not that bad. So it could have been a thing like that. Plus, he made an interesting comparison that I'll have to look into more just to see how close it is. But he said, well, you're so worried about the Kadai Destroyer. Well, look at the Kadai Destroyer and the Phoenix. And, you know, when you compare the two, you know, the Kadai Destroyer is also way more points than what the Phoenix is. So, you know, I'm going to have to sit down and actually look at the math of all that. But also it's like, wow, you know what? The Phoenixes are pretty awesome. So either way, it was a fun game. I learned, so that was great. And I hope you found it fun. So see you game 3 soon. Bye.